1, 2, bing, 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 bing. JJ Dabbles, are you there?
I'm here, sir.
So, this morning, I woke up, I had this song just stuck in my head, and it's the joke, the joke, the
The
joke
joke
is
is
on
on
you.
you. Something, something, something. The tomatoes you threw. The worst guitar riff of all time.
Yes, yeah, we think so. And I know why that song's stuck in my head. All of his songs are usually stuck in my head for days on end, and it's usually a medley of many different songs.
You got to give him credit, though. He gets in our head. Ascension Millennium.
Ascension, Millennium. Yeah, that one.
What about Go For It?
Wah, 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 wah,
And he
wah.
does that. He does that thing where he does this. He does it live too, because I just saw him at PNC in New Jersey. I just saw the Corey Feldman band, and
Oh,
it was a
perfect.
it sucked that it really sucked that he was started at 6:30, and then they had two artists that took 3 hours in between. Limp
Yeah,
Bizkit. It should have been Corey Feldman and Limp Bizkit
disrespectful.
at the top of the bill.
Disrespectful. There's no reason. Look, I
People
like
were there.
I like Nate No Face or whatever his name is, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but Corey Feldman. I mean, come on. Why is it this? I would venture to say it should be a double bill. I mean, like Guns N' Roses, Metallica. Which I
Right.
saw that in 1991 to whatever it was.
Oh, that must have been cool.
Yeah, I was at Superdome, New Orleans. Um, yeah, but now, so I tweeted this morning. I said I got this. If I have Corey Feldman songs stuck in my head on a loop, does that mean it's good? Contrary to popular belief that he's a joke as a musician, we're Are we laughing at him? Is a joke on us? I don't
Yeah,
even know
it's the
what.
joke on us. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. You paid money. Okay, I'm glad you told me that because I had no idea going in. But I knew you were the Corey Feldman expert because I follow you on X, which is on the screen. I'm like, he is perfect for this. You were one of the only people that actually responded, and you said it's okay. But I want to delve more into that tweet. I want to get into it. Let's dissect it and let's find out is the joke on us or not? Is Let's go to what you said in the beginning. You said the song is stuck in our head. There's some credibility there. Go ahead. What were you gonna
It
say on
really is. And I know why he starts every show with the comeback king, because it's something that it just resides in your brain after a while. And even as the people making fun of it, there's loads of videos out there of people ripping on Corey Feldman for his music stuff, and how he's kind of just thrown movies aside totally and went straight into music. But you got to give him credit, because when that song comes on, no matter what, when I saw the video from the Drew Lane show, when I saw it myself in person, a lot of people in that arena were there early to see Corey Feldman, and they knew the words to almost all the songs. I didn't know the words to all those. I only knew like 3 or 4 of the songs out of the 8 he played. But a lot of people knew the other songs too. I was really surprised, and a lot of people bought his merch. A lot of people were at his merch table.
all the songs I know have been from a joke, like from the Howard Stern Channel 9 show. What's wrong with the
Right?
youth?
What's
Like
what's
like
with the
what's
youth or
wrong
whatever.
with the youth? What's wrong with the youth? So I've known about Corey Feldman and music going back to that long ago. Do you know how old he is, by the way?
Yeah, I believe he's 53. I think he was born in like
53.
1970 or 71 or something like that. And also, by the way, I don't know if you know this. I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I'm like 5'9", but he's like 5'5" or 5'6". He's like John height or shorter. I didn't know that about him because I was pretty close to the stage, and you could tell between the height of him next to the guitarist, who I was very close to a little later
Hmm.
on in the night. Um, he is very small.
That does. You know what? What is it? Oh God, there's so JJ. Bear with me. I'm almost ADD on this subject. My mind's going through all these
I
things.
love
When
this subject.
when you said that, I said just like John Melendez, just like Stuttering John, a small miniature dude that has the egos and the belief in themselves and the confidence of the fucking
Yes.
world That's
Yes.
they're
And somehow
similar.
he drowns it. And Corey Feldman is the best. I mean, John is an
No.
amateur compared to Corey
Yes.
Feldman.
You're right. You're
Corey
right.
Feldman can drain out the negativity like it's nothing. I mean, have you seen how many videos are out there of him doing that guitar solo that he does in the live concerts? I mean,
That
he
yeah.
obviously cannot play a guitar. I mean, I have multiple instruments behind me. I know
Me
you
too.
play music.
Yeah.
You can just you and me right here can tell you this man does not know how to play a guitar. If you see it for 5 seconds.
You could turn the sound down and just see it in the way he's holding and holding the pick and strumming.
The best part about that is though that he I don't know if this is where is the joke on us or is he I this is where it comes in. He really, when he does the facial expressions as if he's playing like a Jerry Garcia solo almost. Actually Jerry Garcia didn't make many facial expressions, but you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah,
Those
yeah,
facial
yeah.
expressions from um a real good solo. He does that, but he's just not he's just going and he's playing into it, and of course it's funny, and he's gotten so many views. I don't know how much money he makes off of that, but he's putting himself out there to the point where people are going to Spotify and listening to the music
Mhm.
on Spotify now.
Are they
And I
though?
did that
I've never
myself.
looked. Okay, so they are. I've never looked at his stats. It seems to me
Yeah,
his
they went up.
popularity is based off of being viral for all the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah, but are they wrong? That's the question.
That's what
Because
we're here. We are going to answer this question right
yeah,
now.
are they wrong? I don't think they are. I think there's a lot of people around him that are keeping negativity away from him. So he's in his own bubble,
Mhm.
right? Which is a bad thing to most people. But for him and the way he grew up and in his world, he's the star in his own world right now. And hey, if it makes him feel good and he's happy and he's not feeling any sort of depression, or it's not personally hurting him,
Mhm.
let him do what he's doing. We could all joke about it,
Mhm.
but in the end, just like I say about Stuttering John, again, we'll go back to Stuttering John.
Mhm.
Every day that people that don't like him go to his thing and send him $1, $2, doesn't matter how much it is, he wins every single
Oh
day.
yeah.
So every day that people talk about Corey Feldman, he's winning. So I believe Corey Feldman is on
Mhm.
top right now. I think he's doing well.
I think that's part of it, but I think he is almost like Superman when it comes to negativity. He knows
Mm.
it's out there. You see through the years, you see on the Howie Mandel podcast he just did,
Yes.
Howard Stern, when Sharon Osbourne had him on The View, and he came back at her.
And he got her good. He did.
I'm going to be honest. Did he though? Any one of us can self finance our own music career and put out physical media. Does that mean anybody wanted it? Does that mean anybody bought it? It's just feeding your own ego in a way.
Yeah.
His viral moments was the Today Show, is the Howard Stern. Like he actually said on Howie Mandel, he's like, I hate that YouTube came along and they're taking that clip from What's Up
Right.
with the Youth.
Because it disappeared for so long and no one got to see it anymore from the Channel 9 show.
I really believe that he is 200% confident in his abilities. Like he has no delusions of grandeur. I mean, but we don't understand that because it's like, man, I'm watching him play at a baseball, at like a minor league baseball stadium with no one there. And he's performing like he's playing at Madison Square Garden, which I respect.
And you didn't even know the words.
That's it. It's his ability to not be penetrated by this is fascinating to me. But now things are starting to turn around, and I think he associates being viral with
With
success.
positivity or success. Yeah,
I
okay.
always I say this about John and other people. When other people can monetize what you're putting out, Stuttering John, WATP, Uncle Rico show, all that stuff. When you're the center of this attention and people are making more money than you on
Mhm.
you, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That means people are laughing at you. It's a bad place to be when you're funny when you don't mean to be funny. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
I
yeah,
don't I
absolutely.
don't know if Corey Feldman is trying to be funny. Maybe on that lead he let loose a little bit, but for the most part, I believe he believes his songs are amateur. I mean, yes, they stick in our head.
He's got a long, long track listing. I mean,
He does. He can write a song, he can rehearse it, he could memorize it, and he could do a kind of okay job of performing it.
if he I don't know why he brought it out. This is what I a question. It might be a little off topic where we are, but why with the joke, which is a song that first of all the video was directed by Fred Durst. Did Fred Durst was he messing with him there? Because that video is so
I know.
the video seems like a joke itself.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if Fred Durst was like trolling him and saying, "Hey, I'll direct your video for you." But why did he bring the guitar out? He never did that before. He always just went with the Michael Jackson dancing and his whatever moves he makes. But why all of a sudden with the joke did he come out and play the? He doesn't even play chords. Why did he bring the guitar out for this one song and all of a sudden now he has this one song where he's the guitarist? Where did that come from?
I think my personal opinion and what I think he's completely fucking delusional.
And yeah,
I think he thinks he is Stevie Ray Vaughan.
you could
I
watch the drummer
because
behind him laughing.
if you but if you go back and look at footage from the last 10 years, he's always, oh, here's me do playing drums. You watch Drew Lane show, he does a great job of clipping it.
Yeah, of
Here's Corey
course.
on drums, here's Corey on a kazoo. To the non-musician people out there, the people that are in the crowd, which is more than us, are not people in the radio business, people who don't give a shit if he can play a chord or not. They're not viewing it through the same lens as we are. So he can make people think, look, I can play drums. Look, I can
That's
play a
true.
lead. Look,
With
I can
the
play keyboards.
with a short clip, right?
So I think that's part of it. You know, you have to look at the lens and who his target market is. I mean, there's a lot involved in it. I mean, he was in some huge movies in the 80s. Like we can make fun of Stuttering John, but at the same time, he's in a weird way, he is a celebrity to us. And we would probably go to dinner with him just for the experience. I'm guessing, or have a beer with him. So is Fred Durst enamored with the fact, like this is Corey Feldman? Fuck the fact that he's a delusional musician or whatever. Is, I think in a way you kind of feel like the video is Fred Durst just trolling him. I almost think Fred Durst putting him going back to the beginning on the front of the bill when no one's there is a troll in a way.
Yeah, that's it. That's another troll, right?
Because if he respected him, he put him up way higher on the
I
bill.
mean, he directs the video and then makes him the opening act with two other acts that are less pop, less known, I guess you could say, as Corey Feldman, and just not the Corey Feldman band, but Corey Feldman in general. Just the name is a known name. So why would he make him start a show when the sun's still out? When they could put Corey Feldman under the lights and make it funny, they could have made it
Yeah.
good. They could have really played
Yeah.
into the joke if they just
Hmm.
let him play when the sun went down.
I think I really got into the Corey Feldman stuff when well, the Today
Yeah, of
Show,
course.
Go For It. Well, I was fascinated with that and I saw it happen almost instantly. It's like one of the things I remember just going viral and watching videos of people commenting on it and commentating on it. But the Bonfire, those Legion of Skanks guys had that show
Yeah.
called The Bonfire.
Yep.
Do you remember that? They did a great job. Opie or maybe Anthony. I love Anthony Cumia's Corey Feldman commentary. So I started getting, listening to guys like that, comedians talk about Corey Feldman, and it's so funny. It's like John once all over again. I can't watch John's show, but I can watch other people watch John's
It's the
show
only way.
and
It's
love
the only
it.
way.
If I were to dig deep down inside, you think it's a joke?
I think Corey Feldman is aware that he's not a good musician, and over the years there's gotta be, especially with someone of his fame, I guess you could say. I can't think of the right word, but there's gotta be some people going to him and saying, "Hey, you're not really a good singer." There's gotta be.
No
There's so
way.
many people
No,
around him.
No. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. You would think.
Yeah, you would think but that's what I'm saying. It's possible. It's not probable. It's not really what probably happened. It's what I'm wondering how it's not happened.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's great. That's great. Okay. So we have two people, Stuttering John and Corey Feldman, who have both been sort of dissected as the word narcissists. So
Yes.
if they're both narcissists, they would cut people like that out of their lives, right?
Yeah, and
Or
Corey
out of their
doesn't.
circle. Get out of my circle if you think I suck at singing, out, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, all right.
It's
So,
a
I mean,
theory. It's a theory.
we don't know, like we know about John because John brings us into that world. With Corey Feldman, we have no idea really what's going on.
The Angels period kind of we do though. There's enough
Yeah, we
footage
do.
out
Yeah,
there, and you could
there's
tell
a lot of testimony
a
too.
lot, and not good testimony either. You
No,
know,
none of it.
I
None of
mean,
it's good. Even the bus driver.
right. Depending on what Corey Feldman road you want to go down, if you want to go down, he's a control freak,
Yeah,
narcissist. You can go down that road and find some pretty good testimonials, but or you can go
yeah,
down the other road and say these people are jealous, they're just spurned, whatever. He did seem to pick people up going, you might as well just go in the natural flow of the conversation during the Angels period. He did seem to openly sort of pick girls that quote unquote didn't find their way yet, and he was going to help them along, you know? So
right.
he almost found desperate people, pretty
Yeah,
girls,
kind of like
formed
almost like
a
a
fucking
trafficker.
commune basically in that two-story house of his, and like y'all
Felt
are all
Mansion
my
Studios.
wives, you know, like he's his own little like Hugh
He was
Hefner.
on Wife Swap.
It's hard to understand with him. Is he completely innocent because of his
Well, let me delve a little deeper into to Corey, in how I think of maybe what the and we're going to use Stuttering John too here, and what the difference between those two are. Okay,
okay?
first of all, Corey Feldman was much more famous than Stuttering John ever was.
Yes,
Corey
without a
Feldman was a
doubt.
child star. He was in multiple, you know, top movies, whatever you call those. I forgot, what did they call those movies at the time? The
Blockbuster?
blockbuster movies of the 80s,
Yeah, I'm
Um,
gonna say from 1980 to 80 mid to late 80s,
even
Corey
92.
Feldman was A-list.
He was in Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Did you know that?
Well, that's probably when things started to go down for him.
Yeah, I know, but it was still good.
But The Goonies was one of the
Right.
biggest
Now,
movies.
have you seen the video with him singing with the Stand By Me song with what's his name from Stand By Me? Did you see that?
Yeah, and I think he was terrible.
Yeah, and he played what's the other guy's name from Stand By Jerry O'Connell. Okay.
Yes.
So it was him and Jerry O'Connell on stage. Jerry O'Connell playing into it being a joke, and then him noticing Corey Feldman acting serious as can be, doing his thing. That was hilarious. But Corey Feldman was a very famous child actor. And
Mhm.
now you got to think, if you think of a child that wasn't a famous child actor that went through a lot of the things that Corey went through without being famous. Okay, these are horrible things that this kid went through. And there's no denying that. We know that these things happen to
Yeah.
him, right? So the mentality of a kid who's in Hollywood, who is abused in that way. Nobody believed him, right? That's got to really get you mentally. It's really got to really hurt you and really linger forever. I don't think it ever would go away in my mind,
Yeah.
right? So, the only thing is, it messed him up mentally to the point where he doesn't know what to do with it. Like, he tried to lean into, oh well, I'm gonna let all these names out, but I need to raise money for it. So then he became sketchy, and he lost his credibility, and it really hurt him. So I think he wants to move away from that, and that's why he's doing a full music thing where he's not talking about that stuff anymore, and everything's about his music, and that's it. And I think he wants to stay away from all the other stuff because I think he realizes he made mistakes that he really can't take back, but he can move forward and not repeat them.
Yeah, yeah, I would like to hear that out of his mouth. But we can't like
Yeah.
everyone's gone through trauma, and certainly his experience was more traumatic than ours. Because
Well, I was using Stuttering John as an example originally.
well,
Like,
no,
so,
yeah, I don't think Starting John has had trauma. I think trauma has made Corey Feldman the way he is, right?
yes.
I think John is just John. It doesn't have anything to do with that. So yeah, and the level of fame Corey Feldman hit was way beyond what Starting John has. I mean, Stand by Me was a dramatic movie. It wasn't like some License to Drive or whatever that was.
Right.
Lucas with Corey Haim was
Corey
the
Haim, yeah.
both of them were in these big movies. And it was a time where the industry wasn't fragmented. You went to the movie theater, you saw something. A year later, it's in HBO, and you're looking through the catalog, and you're seeing Lucas six times, 7 times a week because it's on HBO every. And you're a kid at home from summer school, so you were exposed to these guys and the numbers, the eyeballs. That's a big thing. Eyeballs, the eyeballs they reach way beyond what Stern John's ever done. However, both of them have achieved more than the average person. I mean, John being on the Tonight Show
Yeah,
is a big
absolutely.
deal. Well, however he got there or not, he was still on there.
He still was there. Yeah.
I just don't hear Corey Feldman. He's always done his music. He's never not done music. When he was with Sharon Osbourne, he's like, look at all my discography, and it was like 9 albums worth of material, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's got that box set, the Love Left
Yeah.
2.1 box set that there's only 500 of, so get one now.
I mean, he's not different from many musicians that we adore. Musicians that go
No,
through
he's not.
decades and like Kiss. Kiss had a disco. Kiss's disco song, "I Was Made for Loving You," is probably their biggest hit. I mean, like roll U2. I mean, they might be grunge, and then they reinvent themselves. Kiss went through a grunge phase. They all the ones that stick around go through phases and they adapt themselves to what's hot.
Right.
Madonna, whatever. Some are trendsetters. But Corey Feldman has essentially done that. He's been a rapper. He's been this.
Now he's the rock. Now he's doing rock.
I really believe when you're talking about that performance with Jerry O'Connell that he thinks his voice is as good as Janis Joplin. He thinks he can play as good as Stevie Ray Vaughan. I just really believe that. Like I don't think he can possibly believe that, which I don't know what that means.
I don't think that, and I don't want anyone who listens or hears sees this to misrepresent this. I don't think that he knows he's bad. I think he thinks he's good, but I do believe people have tried. There's got to be people that have tried to tell him.
Mm.
And like you said, he's probably cut those people out or, you know, turned it on them and said, well, this is what you've done in your life and you're crazy. And I don't, so your opinion, it doesn't matter to me because that's kind of how he works, you know?
I think he operates his life in the way he did with the Angels, is he's the CEO of everything.
Yes.
I think John's
Yes.
the same way, you know. John's the same way.
Right. John is the Duke, so he gives himself a name. Right. Exactly. Just like
And one thing someone said, not to go sidetracked by John, but someone said something. It might have been Carl. I think it was Carl WATP. He said that John he can never do anything himself. It's always someone has to do something for him. Teach me this.
the keychains.
Anything. This goes back to decades with Stern. He had a network, he had a back office network at Stern where he uses everybody to do things for him and he never does anything himself.
That's the history of him at Stern.
Yeah, I mean, this is recorded. This is not
Yeah.
just bullshit. This is what he was known for at the Stern Show. And when things trickle out from, like he's got this show, but when people start connecting dots and people start getting interviewed, the gig is up. Or it's like everyone knows you're a user, kind of. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I'm very surprised that, and you know, we can talk about John too. I'm really surprised that of all people, that Brian Karam and Army Major, but more Brian Karam. I'm surprised that those guys, they must see what he does when they're not on the show, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they still go on a show with this guy. Because, but you know what, Brian Karam, he's got, he, as much as I disagree with him, he has a very successful career. And the Army Major also has his own YouTube channel where he does his political stuff, right?
Yeah.
And to be attached to John is really not good for either of them. And it's very surprising that they still pop up on his channel.
My theory on that is there's they deal with something that you and I will never have to deal with, and that's the fact that people just want to get to know you because you were famous, right?
No, that's true.
I think it's just the Stern effect. I mean, there's everyone that was on the Stern show for any amount of time. There is a Stern effect, even for Shuley.
Yeah, of course.
All the whack packers, you know.
I mean, Elephant Boy to this day.
Yeah,
No, he died, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
Eric the
until
actor, which I'm going to pay him respect, Eric the actor. So we don't know what that's like when people are trying to or when people will excuse your forthcomings because you're Stuttering John.
Right.
That was a big part of Stern with Stuttering John. He's like, the only reason, remember this in Stern? How many times did Stern tell John, the only reason people want to talk to you is because of me. The only reason they're giving you anything is because of me. So stop taking things. That was the big thing.
That was an argument when he was getting tickets to the Yankee game.
Yes, or getting Well, that's a great YouTube clip.
It really does.
It really does. I mean, it's definitive, and it's the angle. Everyone in the dabbleverse that is a detractor of John all point at the same things, and he just keeps stepping in dog shit. Like he just keeps doing things to himself that solidify everyone else's opinion of him. It's amazing to watch.
It's sad to watch sometimes.
So, sometimes it is. And I said this to Johnny Cush, who is one of my favorite podcasters out there in this verse and beyond. I said to him, does John need everyone reminding him of that? And Johnny was like, no, he doesn't need that. But he brings it on himself,
And now it's more of now he's playing a character.
Yeah.
Now he's a character.
When it becomes performative, to me, that's when I'm out. Yeah, but it is funny. I think performative John is funnier than serious John.
Well, yeah, funnier, definitely. I mean, I just a couple of from the last time I sniped him, which was yesterday. I don't think he went live today. I definitely posted a few clips on X from his show that were very funny because he was being way over dramatic, way overacting. And it actually is funny. And if someone didn't know who he was or what it was, they would see it and laugh. But then when you know who he is and what it is, then it's kind of sad.
I said this about John and my take on John, and I think I said it to Corn Diff on one of our videos. It might have been the Comprehensive Guide to the Dabbleverse, or it might have been when I just had Corn Diff on. We'll do it live. But John, to me, is hacky. He's a hack.
Yes.
And I don't mean that the way comedians take it. Comedians take that as an insult. I don't mean hack as an insult. He's like Jackie was. Jackie was a hack. He's just a joke teller. What makes it funny is how he tells the joke. So to me, when John is just being hacky, when he's in radio interviews and he's doing the obvious crowd work, so to speak, and picking on the obvious stuff, he's funny. That's in my opinion. So John, I always say John should embrace the role of being a hack. Be performative, John, the hack, but he's got too much of an ego, or he don't realize that's his strength. He sees hack and joke telling. He wants to be like Corey Feldman wants to be a respected musician. He wants to be a respected comic, and he's not a comic. He's a performer.
And he doesn't even try. Like he made such a big deal about being people saying he's not a comedian or this or that, but he didn't even try and go out and prove to people that he could be a comedian. I mean, he did one or two shows in a restaurant, here or there, but he didn't even try and prove himself. and that bothered me a little bit. I thought maybe he could do it, but a lot of people said to me, I produced the train wreck show,
Yes.
and that show, no one knew what that show was until Carl brought it on WATP, right?
Oh yeah.
And I can't think of the person who actually originally sent it to Carl, but when they saw themselves on that show and being made fun of, um, they said, you know what, that's funny. And when that's the reason why I'm involved with them is because I saw that they laughed at it, leaned into it, and now they're part of the Dabbleverse too, and they're having fun. Now, John,
Mm.
his entry to the Dabbleverse could have been the same way. He could have leaned into it and said, all right, you know what? These
Yeah.
people are making fun of me. Let me show them that what they're making, I can be good. Instead, he attacks and he starts fights and he became the villain. And I really, really, really think that deep down, if right now, let's say John's just sitting on a couch in the house by himself, obviously, I think he's sitting there going, I wish I did this differently.
Absolutely. He's got to. He's not that delusional anymore. He can't be with lawsuits
Yeah.
and all this other nonsense that in a way he's brought on to himself, but I'm going to give him a pass on a lot. I think her personally harassing people and calling their jobs and stuff is a little over the top.
Yeah, it is.
I think any of us that do this and put ourselves out there, especially John and Aaron Emhold, if you're
Yep.
going to put your personal life out there, people are going to have things to say about it. If you're going to put your kids on streams, people are going to have something to say about it. So don't do it.
Right. I mean, that's like a law. Like, don't put your kids on the internet. Like,
It's ego. That's the problem. Helga and Lisa don't have egos. You have to be able to laugh at yourself, and you're right. John had the opportunity to embrace it, and his last chance was going to DabbleCon 1. If he would have did what
right,
everyone wanted at DabbleCon 1, come out, do the squeegee joke, do some hacky jokes, everyone was just going to be going nuts.
right. It would have been beautiful.
He could have rode the wave, and he would have been getting the same amount of super chats. He would have been.
And he'd be the star of DabbleCon too. He'd right now, instead of his couch, it
Yep.
would be him.
Yep. So he did. He fucked it
And he
up.
would be he would be the main attraction of the whole weekend.
He fucked it up. And that's once again is guys that are in control of their own universe. These guys just trip over their own feet. I mean, I use the term fuck ups. They're just fuck ups. Now when you're a fuck up with money and celebrity, it makes these guys head of their own kingdom.
It does. It's funny you said that because a lot of the clips that I post up about John, I write John steps on his own foot again,
Yep.
and that's exactly what he does. He steps on his own foot.
Yeah. And there are a lot of guys like this. We'll get back to Corey Feldman in a minute, and we'll decide whether he stepped on his own feet. I want to plug my last guest and video I did about Aaron Emhold of Steel Toe Morning Show and Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, both YouTubers, with Johnny Cush. And we did an episode on that, and we traced Aaron's fuck ups. And if you go back to his quote unquote 10-year radio career and you track where he has an opportunity, he fucks it up. He builds something up again. He has an opportunity, a new opportunity, fucks it up. New marriage, fucks it up. Just everything is a series of just self-sabotage, fucking things up. And now he's staring at possibly not having custody at all of his kids, because of his fuck
Unbelievable.
ups. And Nick Rekieta is the same way. It's like they have life by the balls, and
And they
they've
throw it
built
away.
a career in law school, 5 kids, wife, great house. It's the American dream, honestly.
And
And
it's
then
hard to achieve these days.
it is hard to achieve these things. And on top of that, you become YouTube famous, where you and I know live streaming is a lucrative thing. And when you're
Absolutely.
live streaming to 100,000 people at one time during Johnny Depp
Johnny
trials,
Depp. Yep.
that's a big fucking deal. So, and I also want to say Aaron was gold digging too. It wasn't just April. Aaron was not going to let JJ Dabbles or REDNA fuck his wife because we don't have 450,000 subscribers.
Right.
Let's be real.
No,
You know,
absolutely. Absolutely.
so it doesn't matter what Aaron gaslights. I can shoot it down in a heartbeat. I'm experienced and I'm older than you, and I've seen the mistakes you're making through your life, and I'm seeing you step in it time and time again in real time, you know?
And he won't listen because he's at the point where follower counts are what matters and things like that.
And that's the problem, man. That's another problem. It's the most important thing in the world to them, and it's a shame. Aaron, he will look back, or maybe he won't. He is the Steel Toe Morning Show, and this dream of his has ruined his life and people's lives
Yeah,
around him. You know, if he had, I'm not saying, hey, look,
including
go
his
for it.
children.
Exactly. Look, I don't know if Steel Toe was the reason for his first divorce or not. It probably was, to be honest. Because you got to give up when you become a family man, you have to give up the ghost. You have to say, okay, all those dreams I had, I can't indulge into it at the expense of my children, raising my children. They are
Right.
now the priority. They should be the priority. And when your dream of being a radio star becomes a priority to the point where you're begging for money, go get a fucking real job, get some benefits. You know, it's it's like John. It's the same thing. They just can't give up the dream. And John already made the dream come true. You know, John has already been there. John's on the back end of it. Aaron's trying to get there.
And that's why John was embarrassed by having to drive for Uber and being a school teacher, and that's why he wanted to lie about all these things. Also, Salvation Army. He didn't want anyone to know about that stuff because he was on the Tonight Show, and you would never think, hey, an announcer on the Tonight Show is driving for Uber. What happened? He didn't want people to ask that question.
And what happened was what Johnny Cush said. It's his ego. His ego
Yep.
happened. He had to get a mansion in Hollywood. My biggest fault with John, or my biggest criticism of him, where I think is valid, is not his career. It's not what he's done. It's not what he hasn't done. It's not how many super chats he makes or how many viewers he gets. It's the fact that you were a fucking millionaire and you pissed it all away. You can. That being a millionaire and getting there has its street cred, and I give him all the credit in the world. But
Absolutely.
you have to take credit for fucking it up too. It's the ego, and it's he's wanting to cover up for that embarrassment. So Aaron is almost the same way. He feels like if he goes, disappears, and gets a job and does what he should do and focus on his family, not the Steel Toe Morning Show.
Is it even a show anymore? It's just a begathon now.
It's just, don't get me started because then we'll go on for another
Yeah,
hour.
I know. I'm
Uh,
sorry.
it's just you'll see things that all these guys will do, and part of it is a lot of the personalities are very similar, and we all get it. Look, we're doing the same thing. We're podcasting. Sure, we want numbers and all that stuff,
Right.
and it's debatable whether our sense of self-worth is attached to that. You know what I mean? That's the real test. Can you turn off the cameras and feel whole and feel like your family's good enough? Obviously, I don't think Nick Ricade is the kind of guy who can do that. He proved the best thing
Right.
for him to have done was to just disappear. But he still
Yeah,
has
but
to
he's
stream.
he's got to
You know,
do it.
you're fucked up beyond belief. He still has to stream. Still has to stream. It's an addiction in a way. If we really
And
want to
he,
get deep.
and obviously he's got problems with addiction, and when you have an addiction problem, it's not only substance, it's other things too, including internet. Internet is an addiction. Streaming is an addiction to some
Mm-hmm.
people. In Japan, the internet addiction is like a serious problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what that's to do with anything. But yeah, like you said, Nick, after all that he's done, all those streams, those embarrassing things, he still just gets back and like nothing happened. It's almost like nothing happened.
It's this, and this is a perfect place for us to segue back into Corey Feldman. One thing that these people all have in common, we talked about him. Aaron M. Holt, Steel Toe Morning Show. Corey Feldman, no introduction needed. Stuttering John Melendez, Howard Stern Tonight Show, and his own podcast. And then lastly, Nick Ricada. All four of them all have one thing in common. They're all victims.
Yes.
They're all victims. It's never their own
It's
doing.
never their fault. And they point the finger. They point the
Boom.
finger. John's finger might be a little crooked, but they all point the finger.
That is so bizarre, man. I can't do that without forcing it, you know.
It's
It's
impossible.
wild stuff. Yeah. So let's land the ship. Let's like Aaron, we're flying into the mountain and the hero, he pulled it back up before he ruined his life, which is just bullshit. So we're landing the plane. Let's get back to Corey Feldman. Let's get back to the original question. I'm just going to break it down in simplest terms. Is Corey Feldman at this in 2024, his resume the last 10 years, whatever, you know, you can look at a resume and say, look, he got 2 million views on paper. That's pretty impressive. But the behind the scenes of it, it's people are laughing at it. On Limp Bizkit tour, played at Hellfest in front of wherever many people, thousands of people. You know, his resume looks good, right?
Right, it's on paper.
Is he legit? Is he a legitimate? Is he legitimate, or or are they a LOL cow, a lol cow, wherever that's, you know, what is it?
I don't think he's a lol cow because I think a lol cow or an LOL cow, or whatever I say, lol cow.
Okay.
I consider those people to be internet specific. So people who stream their lives on the internet and, you know, get.
But isn't the term derivative of milking a cow, like we're all milking laughs out of them, like the joke's on them?
Yes, I think so. But just from where just the term in general, I personally, when I hear that, think of an internet personality, not Corey Feldman.
Okay. That's fair.
Corey Feldman is a lol cow, but he's a different type. He's, you know, he's someone who was at first not a lol cow. He was, you know, he didn't start that way. He grew into it, you know. But I think Corey Feldman, all right, he's not a musician, he's not a singer. He has a band and he plays music and he sings. So that's very weird, right? He's got to do something. He's Corey Feldman's mind is a mind that will never stop. It's always about him, and he's got to be the star. So, like you said earlier, he's the star of his own world, and he's gonna live that world until he dies. So, no matter if we're laughing or if we're loving, he's gonna do it either way. And that's basically what my opinion is on Corey Feldman. So yeah, it's a narcissism thing, and it's also the lack of self-awareness.
Definitely that. And you know, just like we said before, the victimhood. There's a lot of areas we can go. Narcissism.
Yeah, of course, the victimhood.
Another way of basically saying is he a lol cow or is he legitimate is a joke on us or is a joke on him. I think that the answer can be both. It can be both. And I think it depends on who you are. I think two things can be true. I think it all boils down to financial. If this tour and this music is making him a lot of money, then the joke is on us.
And it is.
If he is dead broke and people are clipping his stuff, if he's not making any revenue streaming, if he's not making much revenue at all, and he's putting up with all of this criticism, then the joke is on him.
Right. Well, he's also, you remember, he's also like you said, he was on Howie Mandel's show. He was on Steve-O's Steve-O's show in the van, whatever that show is. You know, and he's got a lot of other side things too that he promotes that, you know, they might not sell in large quantities, these things, but they do sell to some people, and a lot of people buy them as a joke, you know, as a gag gift, but they're still making him money. And
when you put your money out for it, the joke is on you. If it is a joke at all, and we can say that he's an average musician, maybe a little bit above average in the versatility of being able to do a little bit of everything. I don't think he's the greatest singer. I think he's okay. I think the problem is the way he sings. When you could tell the talking voice is also the singing voice.
Yeah.
It's not good. That's not good.
Right.
It's Corey Feldman singing in Corey Feldman's voice, and it's just too much Corey Feldman. So I'll end it this way. I don't think Corey's in on it. I think once like John, the laziness is apparent. The mistake. He's such a control freak. It's like he's almost directing everything, and it's all amateurish, you know. But he thinks it's great, so he's got his fingertips in everything. And he, like a CEO usually, or like a boss, they fuck it all up because they got to do everything, and they tell people to do all the wrong things.
Did you see the clip where he explains about that cover of that album, that he's being pulled out from hell by the angels? And it's so funny.
It's so basic.
He could have made it nice. It could have been cool. It could have been a cool cover.
It's just so stupid.
You know what Corey should do? Corey should lean into doing some cover songs, you know? And I think
the problem is when you're an actor, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when you're an actor, like who played Sling Blade?
Billy Bob Thornton. I just did a face swap video of Billy Bob Thornton with Eric Zane. Check it out on my channel.
yes, which is up here. Yeah, it's like when you're an actor and you're a famous actor, or you're an athlete, don't rap. If you're an actor, don't play music. You know what I mean? It depends on what comes first. Look, Keanu Reeves. Dog Star. No one gives a shit about Dog Star. No one cared in 1997, and no one cares in 2024. They're going to see him because he's Keanu Reeves. No one respects you because you're a musician.
Right.
It's because you're famous from the movies you're in, because you're an actor. That's the fucking problem.
I forgot
and Billy Bob
he had
Thornton,
that band. I forgot about that.
I'll put this in the link as well. When he went on some show and Billy Bob Thornton was just an asshole to the host. Total asshole. He was like, would you ask Tom Petty that question? Like, he didn't want anyone to bring up the fact that he was a Hollywood star. He just wanted to talk about the music. And it's like, you can't separate the two, dude. You can't come on here and me talk to you like you're Jimmy Page or Robert Plant. You're not. But it's part of your story. So in order for us to get to this music, you know, obviously it's simultaneous with your acting career. It was like he was such a dick. If you haven't seen it, it's phenomenal.
I love those.
All right. So it was great having you, JJ.
Thank you.
I have all your. I think you've done a phenomenal job with the Trainwreck show.
Thank you so much.
You're really helping them a lot, and you were able to kind of take what they got from WATP and sustain it, which is a lot of times people can't do that. You know.
Yeah.
They can grab lightning in a bottle or something. They get eyeballs on them, but then they fuck it up. And we don't want that to happen with Lisa and Helga. And you stepped in. You're like, I'm not going to let them fuck this up. And you're doing great. You're a great producer. You got your own stuff going on in your channel. You have your own channel. You got your own clip show. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, just if you don't follow me on YouTube at JJ Dabbles, please do, because we're trying to move the Trainwreck to that channel so it can be monetized. The Trainwreck YouTube channel is demonetized and will not be able to be monetized ever. So we want to just get to 500 subscribers. That's all we need. We don't care about having, you know, thousands of subs. As long as we have the amount that we can monetize and the people that want to be there to watch, that's all we need. So if you don't subscribe and you like to watch our show, please go subscribe to JJ Dabbles so we can get to 500 and move the channel over, the show over to that channel. And that's about it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, Lisa and Helga are great. There's a reason they call it a train wreck, because you never know what's going to come out of their mouths, which is part of the fascination. That's part of it. That's why people watch and listen to Howard Stern famously, because you never know what they're going to say next. But yeah, they're great. I love your interaction with them as a producer. Hearing your voice on the show is good. I'll put that in the description as well. We'll see you on X, YouTube, and Lisa and Helga show.
All right, buddy. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you.